We met with senior pastor. In our discovery conversation, we realized he in the church was in $440,000 worth of debt, and they had a leaky roof. They thought they needed a miracle. We let them know they needed a better structuring lease agreement. Welcome to Develop by Faith. So here's the thing. I feel that a lot of times in life, we have all the resources there readily accessible for us to hit any goal that we want, right? Whether it's the resources of people, the resources of items, tools, or even resources of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And what I find, Odell, is that when you look at something, see, sometimes we see something, we call it for what it is. We don't like to think vertically and get up out of the box.
Yes.
So you have your congregation, you have your building. Think to yourself, how many hours a day do you use your building? Whether it's, when you go Sunday morning, you have Sunday school.
Yeah.
You got, you have actual congregation, you people coming in, sermon. You might have that 2 or 3 times, depending on how big your congregation is. A lot of times, pastor might come in Monday morning and work, right? Secretary might work a little bit. You're using lights and stuff like that. You might have Bible study on Wednesday, right? You might have some little events over during the week, and there might be a couple of funerals and weddings on the weekend. Now, with that being said, out of all of those things that I just named, at all those times, you still have the HVAC system running. You still have your power running, because power has to still go, and your major power company is still going to bill you whether you use it or not, right? Water might be running for water sprinkler system. You might have to pay a lawn care company to cut the grass or whatever the case is. So you have all these different things, but everything that I named earlier, how many of those things, those activities that you have are actually paying the church? So but let's take tithing out, right? How can you survive?
Well, I think it's simple yet complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So let me, as a pastor,
Okay.
I'm not a senior pastor. I'm with what many call a executive pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one who handles the administrative type and make sure the trains run on time. Make sure the budget is adhered to, all the good things. And when pastor says, I want to do this, I tell pastor, we could do anything you want us to do, but we can't do everything you want us to do. So what do you want us to do? Because you have to have someone who could sit and talk to pastor, he or her, I believe in male and female pastors. Mm-hmm. So to say, okay, here's the building. So I'm asking you a question. Here's a building. A building is a resource. Are we utilizing that resource? A building is a tool, not a toy. Are we utilizing it as a tool? Now people are like, well, that's sacred. That's God's house. I get all that. And that's why I could speak to them from a pastor's perspective, that if we break this thing down and say to you, here I have this resource. Odell, I have a vision, but I don't know how to do it. Odell, I have people around me who are loyal. Pastors tell me that all the time. I have people around me who are loyal, but they don't know how to do what I need them to do. So what do? Throw the baby out with the bathwater? Or you have someone like you and I to come in and help them understand that, listen, you can utilize this. We have to do some things differently. It's not going to take away from the holiness of the church. It's not going to take away from God's mission. It's going to enhance the mission, because a lot of the times we're wasting resources. We're paying for buildings that it need repair, and we're not doing the repair, and we're doing all kinds of things. So we can help you break it down, utilize it, take your vision, make it plain, write it down, do a case study, summary on what you're talking about, and make sure it makes sense. Put it in a business form. And you say, well, the church is not a business. I beg to differ. I say it's God's business, and we're good stewards over it. And remember the gift of administration in the Bible. It talks about leadership administration and how to do things. So that's where I've spent the last 20 some odd years working with different level churches. Right now I have a church, and I won't call out names or anything, but I have a church with about 7,000 members. We're developing a 65 acres on the property. The church don't want to sell their property, so we're partnering with a major healthcare institution to build a 40,000 square foot medical office building. We're putting in about close to 300 senior housings. We're putting in close to 78 townhouses and then some other buildings. And all that's the church. That's economic development. We have another church with about 2,000 members.
Yep.
They're not looking at the same thing. They're saying, hey, we're renting a large facility. We want to turn those dollars that we're renting and put it into something we want to buy. But Odell, how do we get across the bridge? Meaning that how do we go from here to there? And we're strategizing with them and helping them understand, looking at portfolios, introducing them to banking institutions, looking at recalculating and reformulating their debt. Because they're not really in debt, but they're doing some things, act in a certain way.
Well, to your point, right? I think a lot of faith-based organizations, when we look at the big decline, like your generation, mom, dad, the family was very church-oriented. And
I'm a baby boomer. You're right. I'm a baby boomer.
Baby boomers made it a business to make sure that they gave to the church. Church became very profitable. My generation, with all the access to technology and, with the economy, right? The economy has definitely been different in baby boomer times to now, where a lot of people, my demographic, they're not buying assets as much because they're living paycheck to paycheck, just because there aren't really, jobs out there that are paying like that. So if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, whatever I can give to the church will be very scarce, right?
So you mean you're going to give the church a tip?
Well, I feel like this. I feel that some people, right, they have good intentions, but they're not able to really give as much as they would like to because they don't have it to give. But listen to this, church, synagogue, cathedral. With the methods we're talking here, we can work and help with you not have to worry about if the tithing go wrong. See, we have a lot of different examples, people connections, but we've consulted with various pastors on how to make things work for them. For example, I'll tell you a particular story. There was this church, not to say any name, right? We kind of spoke with them and mentioned about the ghost kitchen model. So a lot of people are like, ghost kitchen? What is a ghost kitchen? The Holy Ghost kitchen? Yeah. We worked with them and spoke to them about that. And when we actually looked at numbers, we looked at them possibly making anywhere from $140,000 to $400,000 a year revenue based off that model. And this is something that a lot of churches have. And as you guys go on this journey with us, we'll be speaking about this. See, we want to be able to have it in a position where you can make the money, right? And you don't have to worry about if the HVAC system goes out and have to spend $18,000 and scramble and pull that from the youth fund or from the building fund to be able to fix that thing that is deferred maintenance. See, we have the trust in God, but we forget that, when you look at Abraham, was very wealthy. He ran a good, strict program with having a connection with God or whomever you guys, pray to, right? He had a real good relationship and he was very wealthy and he had wells and such everywhere. So it's not wrong for you to be able to build up a resourceful and profitable business in your community. So Odell, can you talk a little bit about, I know we talked about the big, beautiful bill and the changes about the big, beautiful bill and what churches should expect. See, legislation was passed, and it now affects a lot of people in the community. It's more than just church goers. It's going to be the people that are living in the community, the people that believe, the people that don't believe. And the churches now have an opportunity to be able to spread out their congregation and touch more people. Can you speak about that a little bit of
Yeah,
the changes?
it's interesting you bring that up. I had lunch last week with a young lady, African-American professional young lady, and she was stating that, hey, Odell, pastor, in some cases, the big, beautiful bill and a lot that's happening now in Washington, D.C. is affecting a lot of African-American women who were employed in academia or with the government and other institutions. And she was sharing that, and she gave me the number, and I don't remember the number out of hand. X amount of professional African-American women are unemployed right now. And anyone who understands the Baptist church or the African-American church, a lot of our number one tithers are African-American women. So she was talking about, okay, not from a perspective of what's the church going to do, more from a perspective of what she was going to do to try to survive it. So you're absolutely right. When you look at the possibility of economic development, the church being part of economic development. And I'm going to circle back to your ghost kitchen perspective. I was doing a study last night, presented studies to send it to him this morning. The pastor, one of the things that he wants to do is to build a fellowship hall. Well, I said, how about instead of fellowship hall, the fellowship center? And part of it, then you put a commercial kitchen on the back end, or what we may call a community kitchen. And when you start running those numbers, it brings in anywhere from 100,000 to close to 400,000 if you do the tie-in with the fellowship hall seating about 300 capacity. Now that does a couple of things. It saves you because when you go and have events, you're renting somebody else's venue. But also now all of a sudden, the food trucks and everyone else who needs that tie-in into community, you allow them to come in and partner with you. And partnership means they pay you, they pay the church. They pay the church for usage of that tool. And that's working well with a lot of people. And interesting enough, the church, I smile because I've been doing this so long. For a long time, the church kitchen was being used, but it was being used kind of like under the table. Some church members would run their catering business out of it or whatever, and it's just whoever had the key. I like that key. Whoever had the key
There you go.
to the church building or the kitchen, that's what they were running. And let's just legalize it. Let's just formalize it. Let's just do it the right way so the church benefits from a lot of activities that's happening in the church anyway. Something like your parking lot. What are your parking lot doing? All those parking spaces, how can we monetize those parking spaces from Monday to Saturday? And we have examples on doing that, and it's not as hard as one thinks. So yes, makes a big difference. A lot is changing now.
It is. And one of the biggest thing I had to look at is it's not your fault that the economy shifted. It is your responsibility to adapt.
Yes.
Shift comes, shift happens. How can you adapt? And furthermore, like we said earlier, we had a conversation off the camera. Raise your hand.
Yeah.
See, too often we feel that we can just do it. Odell, you said you had pastors that you've consulted that say, hey, I got all these loyal people around me.
Yeah.
But they don't know.
Right.
They just don't know. Don't have that resource. However, sometimes having someone who's been there, who's done that, who's have a great track record can help influence you and motivate the people around you to say, hey, we can do this. We can definitely pull everything up. And one thing I want to say this, right? I'm real big on systems and models. So we talk about what a system is and what a model is. A model is kind of like how it's structured, how it's built. A system is how it kind of works. So think of this, right? Your body may be the model, right? But your system is how your body functions to be able to stay alive and do things, whether it's, you eat food, you have your digestion takes it and goes to the cells for nutrition. And then it takes the waste out of it and just keeps going on and on and on. So with that, we're going to talk about the church sustainable ratio. So I'm going to put a diagram up here so you guys can see it. Let's talk about that. You have S, which is sustainability, equals M, which is member ties plus real estate revenue, over operational overhead and deferred maintenance. Okay, so let's talk about that. Sustainability ratio. This is how you can see if your church is actually sustainable. There's a statistic that was floating around saying that 80% of churches would be out of commission by 2040. 80%.
80% of churches the doors will be closed by 2040.
Yes. Let me explain why.
Okay.
We established earlier, baby boomers, they tithe, they have all this going and put everything out. A lot of baby boomers will be transitioning. Gen Z, the millennials, they're not tithing as much. The decree in jobs with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
It's one of those things where we're looking at unemployment on a big rate, where we have jobs that used to be very sustainable, like the big banks, companies like UPS, the Postal Service. They're laying off people. These used to be pillar of the community when it came to good employment for the middle class. By 2040, churches, if they're not adapting to, the community center model, what that means is what you're doing, Odell, in regards to, healthcare, ghost kitchens, parking lots, developing for single, family homes, multifamily homes. You're not doing this with your building or with your resources. You will be out of commission. Now, here's the thing. This model, go back to sustainability, and you guys can utilize this. And if you guys need help calculating this, we're always here to help. And we can put the link below where you can reach out and just raise your hand for help. We'll offer, call us, talk to us. We can set up a call. We will speak to you free just to see how we can help you all with everything. But let's talk about the sustainability ratio. So member tithes, right? Plus the real estate revenue. Say your tithes for that month might be 5,000. Just throw a number out there. 5,000. That's pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of low, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, we just want to. Odell, let's play with your numbers. What's something? Just give us an idea. Since you're in that realm, what something would go for.
A lot of times, because I deal with so many different churches at certain levels, let's just a round number people understand, $100,000 a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
$100,000 a month, right?
Yes.
Then you have your real estate revenue.
Yes.
Whatever that might be. We spoke about the ghost kitchen concept. If we say it makes, $120,000 a year, that's
to $400,000. That's what the performer says.
Yes, but just for simple numbers,
Gotcha.
That 12 say takes $10,000 a month.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Might
yes.
be a daycare or whatever the case. We're just looking at all the revenue things. But then you have the operational overhead, right? So now you have staff. What are some operational overheads that the church have to pay? Staff, mortgages, insurance,
yes,
maintenance.
Yes, because deferred maintenance is very expensive. People kind of play with maintenance, but I had one guy told me, he's not a pastor, but he's a member. He says, "Pastor, my whole life people been talking about building funds. We've been building funds built. When's the building gonna ever get built?" Yeah. And I just laugh. And I know what he says. I understand it. People like, building funds and building campaigns. In a lot of cases, people don't believe in it anymore because you have to be transparent. You have to be open and honest. And to your point with your motto, when we come in and talk to and work with the church, we have to understand that people are already there. Those people that pastor said privately, I have loyal people, but they're not capable of going to this level. They don't understand it, and we don't know what to do. It's almost like we're stuck in the fact that we don't know how to do this. So when you come in, you have to be careful, because I come in and talk to people, and their chief administrative officer there would say, well, how did the pastor lose faith in my ability? And I had to sit down and remember now, I'm a pastor, so you have to sit down and talk to them. No, it's not that he lost faith in your ability. This is what we're doing. I have more experience in this. Because people want to ask the question, are you coming in to replace me? What did I do wrong? If something's not right, if you're coming in, because I've always made those decisions. Well, it's hard to lead someone where you've never been. It's hard to understand when you're dealing with an $8 million a year budget and you're used to dealing with a, say, $800,000 a year budget. You don't understand some things. And the fact that we could come in, make some phone calls, and we have relationships with presidents of banks. So the whole conversation is different. Understanding capital stack, understanding things and explaining to them, and understanding, hey, let me ask you questions. I don't question them like they're on witness stand, but I question for better understanding. Okay, here's the budget. What's this?
Yeah.
You know, why are you spending money here? And not accusatory, but just making someone understand that someone's asking the question, why are we making these decisions with the people's money?
I love what you said. You come in and from curiosity.
Yeah.
Right? And that's going back to the original thing that we spoke about. Had this whole deep conversation off camera in regards to connecting, you know, or making a pastor feel that it's okay to be safe and secure with us, right?
And transparent and vulnerable.
Yes.
Because pastors sometimes take on a syndrome like, well, I'm the pastor.
Yeah.
Well, you could be wrong. And if you're wrong and we hit that iceberg, we all going to sink.
Yep.
We're all going to sink. So pay me now, pay me later, because I'm coming in, we're coming in to help enhance and kind of correct the situation, because sometimes we never go to the hospital until the pain get unbearable.
Oh man, woo. Talked to a senior pastor a couple weeks ago, and he was saying that all these things with the deferred maintenance happen at once, and you know, no one talks about if one HVAC unit, commercial HVAC unit, is 18 grand, but you got 6.
Yeah.
Out of 6, 4 got to be replaced.
Right.
Right. Or as we said earlier about the church, the pastor we were talking about that's in $400,000, excuse me, in debt, and their roof is about to cave in.
Right.
You know, no one talks about that stuff. Right. And with this this journey that we're going to take with one another, we'll be talking to you about real life experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the pretty. Because there is sunshine at the end of the road.
All day long. Because to your point, the $400,000 in debt and the roof, all that is just like, if you play spades.
I play spades.
Okay.
I play spades, y'all. I'm a spades player.
Okay. So if you're a spades player, you're just trying to reconfigure your hand.
Yep.
So we go in and say, okay, 400,000 debt, no problem. Let's go ahead and reconfigure that. Let's combine that debt, capital stack, get whatever we need to get the roof fixed, because your roof has to be fixed, and get that done. And it's just reconfiguration. And in some cases, you're paying less per month, and it takes the stress off of the church, off of the pastor. It takes that away, and it's okay, because even though people don't understand sometimes, it's you can reconfigure your hand just like if you're playing spades. You know, you can pull trump. There's certain things you can do. You can, you know, is the joker wild? It's just the same thing in business when you understand the terminology and understand the strategies of doing business.
I agree.
And that's what we do.
And I want to say this, and Odell, you do a real good job with this. Real estate is a modern day stewardship. See, when you have, you can always give back.
Right.
Right. When you can actually empower people, right? You can be able to help them pull themselves up, and they can pour back into you, and you can continue to pour into more and more people, you know? Now, I'm going to say this. Now. You guys can, you can try to call a restaurant group yourself, but if you don't have the right hold harmless clause in your contract, you'll be betting the entire church on the sandwich shop. And we're not saying do that. What we're saying is reach out, let's have a conversation, and let's see how we can work together. By the way, below in the link, you can reach out to us there. You can also download our audit to see your score on your church, and let's get on a phone call to see if your building is ready to go to work. Odell, you have any final remarks?
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the most aha moments I had in doing this is the fact that I grew up in the hood. So only time we call a lawyer when someone got in trouble, such a person got caught selling drugs, or this person speeding tickets. So you get a lawyer. Well, doing this kind of work, I deal with lawyers up front. So, we used to get a lawyer in the hood to get out of trouble. We deal at this level with lawyers, so we never see trouble. And it's just a different mindset when you think about it. And to your point about real estate, I teach people the game of Monopoly. So we understand Monopoly. It's just fun, right? But when someone get houses or hotels on a certain property and you land on it, then it's compound. You owe them so much more because that property is so much more valuable. That's what we're doing with the church. The land we have, because a lot of that land's been there for forever. It's just that in so many cases, the church has been taken advantage of by people. So they're afraid, and rightfully so in some cases, or cautious to say, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit on this thing. It's almost like in the Bible, you talk about tithes and talents and, all this. Everybody knows some people buried theirs, some invested in, and some did this and that. And when the master came back, he said, listen, you didn't do right. You just didn't do right.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to say, if you are interested, we would love to have a conversation with you. And if you want to check us out, you Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, do whatever you need to do, because no one's trying to take anything from you, but we're trying to help you enhance, because you have to get ready. You have to get ready. TD Jakes used to say, get ready, get ready, get ready. You have to get ready because things are changing, and you have an asset, a real estate asset, and it's sitting there, and let's help you improve that. Just like the Monopoly board, let's help you make that more valuable. It's still yours. We're not asking you to sell it. It's still yours. But again, when you go into the church, you have to understand the culture of the church.
Yep.
You have to understand the language of the church, and you have to understand the temperament of the pastor. I think what makes me so successful is that a lot of pastors have very large egos, but I came from large pastors, and I have a sizable ego myself. So I understand what the pastor's dealing with, and I understand the administrative side of it also. So it's like, I'm here to help you, not hurt you. I'm here not to be a senior pastor. I'm retired. This is what I do now, and you can check my receipts. And I think when you start talking about bringing healthcare systems inside the church, it makes a big difference, because that's revenue coming in. But more important than revenue, that's your people having access to healthcare, because the faith communities and churches are the most trusted institutions in certain communities and the most accessible institutions in most communities. It's a church on every corner.
Yep. Agreed. Y'all, we appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this. Follow the link below. Download our free audit to see if your church fit and check the boxes, and give us a call. We want to call and talk to you. We want to help you out. Let us know how we can help and assist you, but definitely download, reach out. Let's stay in contact. Until next time.
Thank you.